Hey guys, Lucas here again for another movie review. I hope you guys are enjoying your long Memorial Day weekend, but I have a movie to review for you guys, and that is the new kind of found footage, but not really, horror film, Chernobyl Diaries, which comes to us from the producer and a director of Paranormal Activity, Oren Peli. Now this movie has basically no big names except for Jesse McCartney, you know, that old pop singer that was like the Justin Bieber of, you know, the early 2000s when I was like 5 years old. He's not even a big name, but he's probably the only recognizable person. And it stars these group of, I guess, kids that are in college or out of college. I don't know what they are. This group of 20-somethings that go to Chernobyl in Russia, the, you know, the city where the nuclear reactor went off, the huge disaster, and they go there, they take a tour there for some reason instead of going to Moscow, you know, Moscow or Chernobyl, you know, you didn't pick Moscow, but for some reason and somehow Jesse McCartney's brother convinces them to take this tour, and things aren't what they seem and stuff starts attacking them, and a stupid movie ensues. Now, people were mad that they made this movie just because they were trying to capitalize off the Chernobyl disaster. I don't see it like that. They made a bunch of movies off of real-life disasters. I mean, they Extremely Loud and Incredibly Close just came out. That was, you know, about 9/11, except that wasn't a horror movie, so I guess people weren't as mad about that. But to me, they're just going to keep doing stuff like this, and it doesn't really offend me at all. I think people just need to, you know, find something else to be offended by, because this really isn't something to be offended by. So I kind of went in defending the movie for that reason, but besides that, the movie is pretty goddamn bad. It's, what I liked about it though was from the previews that they kind of look like a found footage movie, and if I ever see another one of those, I'm going to have to record myself with a found footage camera and show my suicide, because I can't stand those movies. But this one was not shot like that. It kind of is, it kind of has that feel, but it's shot with a steady cam, and there's some shaky cam now and then, but it's not found footage, which I kind of thought was a nice surprise. But there wasn't a lot that I liked about this movie besides the setup. Like the first 15 minutes, I was kind of interested in. When they first get to Chernobyl, I was actually kind of intrigued. And also the acting's not that terrible in the beginning, but it gets way worse later on in the movie. But the setup I didn't mind, and throughout the movie they have a lot of interesting ideas, but they never capitalize on it. I'm going to talk about that too. But besides the setup, the atmosphere was kind of cool. I bought that this was Chernobyl because I think they actually did shoot on location. But that's really all the movie has going for it, because the acting is pretty atrocious later on in the movie, and that doesn't really help because there's, you know, terrible dialogue written for these characters. I think Jesse McCartney actually wasn't that bad. He was just, you know, kind of, everyone was just kind of forgettable. His brother, though, had moments of decent acting, and then he kind of got into laughable territory. But also, I don't think any of these people are terrible actors. They just had bad lines written for them. But the acting didn't help. The only guy I liked was like the Russian tour guy, who was kind of like a stereotypical Russian guy named like Orlov or something. But he was the only guy I kind of liked, and he was believable as the tour guide. The movie's just not very scary. There's not a lot that happens in the movie. It's kind of boring. But the thing that really frustrated me is the characters in this movie are so stupid. Like, they have a Geiger counter, you know, because of the radiation, obviously, in Chernobyl, and they're looking at it, they're like, oh, look, the radiation's getting higher. Let's just walk into it. Like, the radiation's this way, they just walk into the radiation, and they do that numerous times, and I was like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen they do. They have a lot of things where they split up, which is not a good idea. I know Cabin in the Woods made fun of this. And when I was watching this movie, everything that happens in this movie could come off the Cabin in the Woods board. If you've seen Cabin in the Woods, and you know what I'm talking about when I talk about the board. Everything in this movie could have come off of that. So that made me laugh. But the thing that's most frustrating about this movie is every time they present a cool idea, because I think this is a really cool concept. Go to Chernobyl, something happens, there's still people there that are inhabiting it. I think that's cool. They could have made this into a cool concept, and they had a couple of cool ideas. The thing I really did not like about this movie is every time they would go somewhere kind of interesting, they don't do anything cool with it, or they just like, screw that, let's just get to more running. and that was the most frustrating thing, especially the ending. The ending, right when I thought I was going to get into something really cool, they had something kind of interesting set up, the movie just ends, and you're like, my God, movie, you can't... It's just frustrating. The movie's just frustrating. It should be called frustrating the movie because the characters are dumb, so it's frustrating. The ideas are dumb, and the concept is wasted. So it's just really frustrating movie. I don't think it's completely incompetent. I don't hate this movie. It's a bad movie, but you're gonna forget about it. I forgot I even saw it last night. So it's nothing that you're gonna be, think it's gonna be like the worst thing ever. It's not like a, Haunting in Connecticut bad, but it's something that is just extremely forgettable, and the only thing I would probably recommend to watch this movie is like maybe on a Redbox or your friend's house had rented it and you have like a couple of beers or something. That might be kind of fun, but besides that, the movie's kind of a waste. So I would give Chernobyl Diaries 2 out of 5 stars. It's a pretty forgettable horror flick, and it's definitely one of my least favorite films of the year so far. So, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys enjoy your long weekend and NBA playoff basketball. And I'll see you guys next time for another movie review.